is a Nike sponsored trail runner. He's really
It
fast.
will excuse me, pardon me.
Yeah, geez. And Carly's also a really fast track runner.
So you're at Nicole's.
Yeah.
Nicole Miracle.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I'd like to move to Colorado.
You should.
I'm going to say something that may lose a few listeners. Are you ready? I thought moving to Colorado would be so cool, but Trump is still the president there. So if I'm going to move, I think I'm going to move out of the country.
If anybody will take you from Corona land.
I know. Honestly, my wife and I have had those conversations. Like I used to entertain it a lot. I'd be like, honey, wouldn't it be super cool? I can kind of do what I do from anywhere. I'm a digital person. And, you know, I could cover the European OCR scene. This is obviously before COVID. Or like, what if we spent like a year in like Australia and the kids would learn so much stuff? My wife was like, what are you talking about? Like, we're not going to live like that. Like, I don't make enough money like Joe can with like Joe's family. Joe's like, all right, we're moving to Singapore for a year.
Right.
But I think lately she has thought about it because it's gotten so gosh darn wacky. But realistically, it's not going to happen. I don't see us going anywhere.
Yeah, it's weird. I used to think that maybe I'd end up living in a foreign country, but the older I get, and also living in foreign countries, I've realized just how American I am in a certain way, whatever that means, because America's so huge.
Right.
But it's weird. I like feel like I want to live here. I mean, I would be happy to live other places for several years, but I think like ultimately I would want to live here long term.
I think we're so insulated. I'm so insulated that I'd never left the country. So I went to England for the first time in, I think, 02 or 03. And I remember at the time, like Bush was president and they were making like Bush jokes and like asking me like, so how do you feel? And it's like, I had to all of a sudden speak for an entire nation, right? This is, by the way, how your black friends feel when you ask them to speak for all black people. And I was like, I'd never even thought of it. I was like, oh, like they see me as this thing. And at the time I was like, not that big of a fan of George Bush. So I was like, well, I mean, he is the president, but I don't necessarily agree with all of his thoughts. And they had all their English opinions. But now the world is so much smaller. There was internet, but this is before social.
Yeah, that's so strange to think about. It wasn't even that long ago.
It wasn't. And I distinctly remember my friend was texting a lot because it was New Year's Eve and there was like plans to be made. And America did not do that. Like it was like 85 cents per text back then, but it had already been like a thing over there. But it was not within America. In 2003, we were not a texting nation yet. Isn't that weird?
That's so weird
to think about.
It's really weird to think about. I had a brick phone at that time. I got a phone really young, so I had one in junior high. It was never on, but I played Snake on it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Good game.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a physician?
No. I didn't know what I wanted to be. And then I was in med school, and then I finished med school. And now I know I want to be a psychiatrist. But I don't think I knew I wanted to be a doctor, to be honest, until I realized that I wanted to be a psychiatrist like 1 year ago.
So now it's going to be 4 more years of school?
Training, yeah. So like I'm going to go to psych residency. Yeah.
So you learned about all these things in the body, how the body works, how to fix the body. And you're like, you know what? I want to go with what's going on in here in between the old ears.
Yep.
But just think how valuable be as both.
Yeah, no, it would be valuable, but I feel like the problems that I want to address, well, I mean, everything has a place in the mind. Like everything comes from the mind. Your whole entire experience is synthesized by your mind. And so to me, it's one of the most basic and also complex and interesting things there are.
Right, but just think, no matter where you are in the world, if they're like, is there a doctor in the house? You're like, oh yes, I can help you. But then also if they say, I think I might be bipolar.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. A
Right,
concept which probably doesn't even exist everywhere in the world. But yeah, no, definitely. No, I definitely, there is, when I was making this decision, there was some mourning for the loss of like just the doctor sort of concept. Like being a doctor is aesthetically appealing to me, like the notion of being able to care for somebody's physical ailments. But my boyfriend's a doctor, so he can be the doctor one, and I'll be the psychiatrist.
Oh, I guess he's the boyfriend for life then, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
That's the idea.
Okay. When you said the aesthetic, I thought you just meant like you like how you look in a lab coat and a stethoscope around your neck. Like aesthetically,
No. It's the aesthetic of the idea of like the idea of a physician. Not like, oh, that's so cool and appealing, but like it is pretty cool. Like that the human body is your project, your life work, and that you can help it. I don't know.
And that's it. Now it's all going out the window.
Well, my first year of residency, I'll function as an internal medicine doctor for part of it, I think. Yeah, I guess it's so. I guess most of my focus will not be on that. Yeah.
Well, I reached out. You're always a fun chat. I don't know. Did you see the video I posted of your hilarious musings the other day?
I didn't.
Oh my goodness. How could you miss this? I should pull this up. I think you will find this humorous. Hang on. Let me find it. Hang on.
Do you want me to find it on my phone?
No, because we'll watch it together. We'll use
Okay.
We'll use the magic of screen share.
Cool.
Let's go Instagram. All right, so now we'll do a little screen share. Where'd it go? I just had it. That's not right. This is really annoying to the listener. I'm sorry.
Bone frog.
I have to make sure that noise is on. Hang on. That's the most important thing about the screen share is to make the noise on. You're like reading Instagram. Stop reading Instagram.
Sorry.
You'd think I'd know how to do this. I've been on about 800 Zooms. But when you go to share screen, what the fuck? Where's that little audio thingy? Oh, here we go. Boop. 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 All right, ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I started to see that.
And your job here today.
My name is Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock, and I am the trash porter.
And I didn't think about practicing running through mud, but it's like ice skating. Do you remember me from the other day?
I mean, Ashley was definitely right there.
Ashley Montalbaba?
Ashley Heller.
Oh, Ashley Heller, sorry.
And eventually he can get called
Can you spell Injinji?
INJIGI.
I think that Spartan Race needs to come out with a new meme that the truss is lava.
Can you spell Geigerig?
Let me start over. GHIEIGERIG.
Seriously, do you know me at all?
Not really. It's not as good as Endurely post-workout, let me tell you that. That stuff's good, but...
You know what your Spartan number is?
130.
And why is it 130?
Because that's the number they gave me. I love when you can see your eyeballs through sunglasses.
Jason Barnes.
Jason Barnes. From Alabama?
From Alabama.
No way!
It was the shit show.
I started in Alachua for the Savage Race Blitz.
Hey, I'm Amber Klein.
Amber Gettings Klein?
And then I came to Jacksonville for Spartan Race Super.
So I went to this vintage store that was like a minute from my house meaning my Airbnb, and it had some pretty rad clothes, including these really big jeans that were so nice, but a little bit too big.
Can you spell Ryan?
That's good, man. Good job.
So yeah, you're always a highlight.
Those are some good clips.
I know, right? Well, I am terribly unorganized, Rebecca, occasionally. And so I was like, all right, I've got a bunch of these little discs and I need to just go through and dump everything. And I found that was a Sunday race from 2019. And I'd never used any of those interviews. And I was like, I kept finding these like random things. And I was like, well, then rather than like show like a serious, how was the race? Because who cares? It's over a year ago. Let's just put Rebecca saying, I like it when you can
see your eyeballs.
See your eyeballs in glasses.
Those were so good. That's really nice because it kind of captures like post-race craziness too.
Right. And it makes you like miss racing.
Yeah, it does.
It made me miss racing.
Nice. Wow, that was nice on so many levels.
See, Rebecca, you get me.
I also get the like disorganization thing where you just have this like giant pile of hours and hours and hours and hours and stuff. Also, like when you said, sorry, listeners, I realized, wow, you're probably not going to edit this because there's too much stuff on your plate. Like there's too much shit, like it's going to take so long. If you were to edit all of your podcasts, would you even do podcasts? Like maybe not. I feel like the activation barrier would be so high because you'd be like, oh, I have to edit it afterwards.
Well, I've spoken about this before on the air. Some people pride themselves on that. Like they like to take out every time the other person says, which to me is not really a conversation. That's not really how people talk. There are other things you can do. It's called Truncate Silence. So if you and I talk for an hour, it's going to make it 57 minutes and the listener won't even notice that they missed all those half seconds. So that's like a nice thing. But like when you listen to NPR and it sounds like a very highly produced interview, and that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I just like, and the truth is, listeners, I edit quite a bit. I used to literally edit nothing, like just put it up there. And now I do tend to find things like you would. Anyway, I edit quite a bit, much more than I used to. But no, I can't possibly. And I never edit for content. Once in a great while, someone says, I didn't like that I said X. And I'll usually say, okay, fine, even though it's never a big deal. But yeah, making me lose train of thought there.
I think that's good though, because yeah, I mean, people have short attention spans and it's nice to get rid of some silence, I guess. I think it's good.
Yeah. So I saw, first of all, I do always like talking to you. And then you had a post about body dysmorphia. And I want to talk about that. And I want to say about my own experience in that I let's just say as a typical guy, never thought twice about how I looked or how I dressed or anything. Like, look in the mirror, that looks good, let's get on with our day. And it wasn't until I began obstacle racing at age 40 and I saw a bunch of these guys at the start line with like washboard stomachs and I thought, wow, I'd like to have that. And then I thought, oh my God, I've never had that thought in my life before. And I know women typically, I don't know what age it starts for you, but you guys do that compare thing like pretty young, I'm guessing. Looking at a magazine, looking at someone on television. And, we talk about in a society, I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. Like we can all be as woke as we want. And me and my wife can teach my daughter like the most self-esteem we can possibly do it. But you can't get away from 10,000 magazine covers in every grocery store and 10,000
social media.
Well, but I'm just talking old school, like just driving in your car and there's a billboard, an ad comes on for a television show. Here's this gorgeous actress. It's like, that's the world that we live in. So do you know like what age, I guess, you started having doubts about yourself or started having like some negative talk kind of thing?
Well, I remember, so my dad has always been like obsessed with his weight. He's pretty funny. So like from a young age, I was always thinking about weight. And then my close friend when I was like 5 and 6 was always like, oh, I wish I were skinny like you. So
5 and 6?
Yep, 5 and 6. So I was like a little tiny child.
Wow.
Like, yeah, that was like very much on my radar. I wasn't like, you know, thinking I was fat or whatever, but like I was definitely thinking about weight, and weight was a thing. And like my friends who were the same age were like feeling badly about themselves. So young, really young.
Because I was going to guess like 10, 11, 12.
No, younger, definitely younger. Yeah, I mean, it didn't become as relevant until 10, 11, 12, but yeah.
But at the time when your friend said skinny, did you think that was good or do you think that was bad?
Oh, good. Because like
Oh,
the
okay.
friend was like jealous, you know?
Right. But when did you start having thoughts about whatever I look like, this body might not be good enough for society, for me to attract a mate?
Or whatever. Well, definitely in junior high, when people started to go through puberty, I was a late bloomer and then like never got big boobs or whatever. But like I was very self-conscious about having small breasts as like it's so funny to think about now. It's like a 12-year-old, you know? But I feel like all adolescents are self-conscious about their bodies just because they're changing, and people are at different phases. But that's probably where I first started to really like think about it. Because before that, you know, you're like a literal child, and I didn't really think about it. Some of my friends did, but I didn't really think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, along this thing of like, you know, this concept of body dysmorphia, basically no matter what is going on, you see something else. And I never imagined that. So I'm 48 now, and I am very concerned about like what this little part of my stomach looks like, even though I weigh right now, very happy with what I weigh.
Yeah.
And they say it's not about the scale, but I am happy at a certain number these days. But it's, you know, when you get older, things just happen. You know, your neck starts to do weird things, and those days are coming, Rebecca. You wait.
No, I mean, but the funny thing is, like, they already feel like they're coming. You know, like even at like 20, you're like starting to notice things about yourself because you're focused on the little details. Somebody else just sees the big picture and they're like, whatever, they don't really care. But you're looking at certain things, and depending on how you're feeling, you're looking for different things in the mirror.
Right. So how has it affected you? I want to say sort of in your younger life, and how has it affected you now that you've become a semi-public figure?
Yeah, so I feel like I first started having trouble, or not, it first started like negatively affecting me in college probably. And it would always happen when I was injured or not racing that much or not like performing well in workouts. It always came hand in hand with me not being satisfied with my performance in athletics or not feeling fulfilled. So I would like start to like focus on different things, be like, oh my gosh, now I have this or whatever. And then I would have like one good workout or like a track meet, and then I would like forget about it for a while, you know? And the funny thing is, like, when I would have issues when I would feel badly about myself and like be focused on certain little details about my body, that's when I would have the most kind of unhealthy relationship with food. I mean, I guess that's not a surprise, but my unhealthy relationship with food has never been restrictive. It's always just been like, I feel out of control. Like I tend towards like binge eating a little bit. But that always happens when I'm feeling badly about my body. So that shows you something, you know, that I like eat more and for like unhealthy reasons, I guess just because I feel bad when I feel bad about my body. So it's kind of counterintuitive a little bit, but yeah.
And then how about as someone who came into our little obstacle world a couple years ago, and all of a sudden you're in the public eye a lot more? Like, I assume that if you see posts about yourself or your sponsors want to post things about yourself, that might be difficult for someone who has those issues.
Oh, well, it's funny. Like sometimes when I'm performing well athletically, first of all, like I don't worry about it so much. I like don't think about it. It's not on my mind. So like my first year of obstacle racing, I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, when I'm down on myself, like I don't want to like photo shoots. I usually love photo shoots, video shoots. But when I'm down about myself, I like don't want to take photos. I don't want to post anything. I don't want to like look at myself at all. And yeah, so that's not great. But yeah. So I guess it affects me. But I guess like I don't. So first of all, like I'm not talking about like clinical body dysmorphia. That's like I'm just talking about generally where you focus on certain parts of your body, aren't happy with it,
Right.
and maybe like see it slightly worse than it actually is, but there is no actually is. There's only what you perceive. So.
Right. Yeah. Again, for me, it's like not something I ever occurred to me. And now, I'm someone who's openly talked about being sober a long time, and basically food is, and I stopped smoking a long time because basically food's kind of the last house in the
Yeah,
block as it
but
is
it's
for me.
weird because you need food, so it's
I,
hard. It's
I know,
really hard to deal with.
I know. And I'm not going to say that I obsess, but I definitely think about everything I put in my mouth. And
Yeah.
I think some people don't do that. And maybe all quote unquote athletes do. Maybe all of us that are training for something do, whether you're a weightlifter or a soccer player or an obstacle racer or whatever. But like, what I had lunch today, I had, my wife makes this delicious turkey meat that we eat all the time. And so I had that and some spinach. And I was like happy that I didn't eat that much. Like I only brought a little, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, I wish I didn't think about it so fucking much. That's what I'm trying to say.
I found something. I was looking through my computer I'm writing my psych residency applications right now. And I was looking through my computer at old journal entries and stuff. And I found this little teeny like note to myself from 2014 called Addiction. It says, I'm hooked on the little cycles of instantaneous reward I get from sugar and food. I mean, we all are to a certain extent if we're at all normal, right? But it doesn't always have to get to the level of self-deprecation via anxious thought, inability to sleep because you're torturing yourself, inability to extract yourself from your dark little room because you have to go for a run, but you just ate and now you have to wait, but it's going to get dark soon. And then I kind of trail off. But like that little thing, like that cycle, I am so familiar with, and it is so horrible. Like it feels so bad. And it's like, why? It's so stupid.
Yeah, I when I'm not doing well, I eat cereal at night, and I will make a bowl and say like, I'm definitely not going to have a second bowl, and then I'm absolutely going to have a second bowl. And the fact the past, I don't know how many months it's been that I've not done that, it's like I'm genuinely proud of myself for it. And I've learned, you're going to not believe this, Rebecca, you're not going to believe this, but if you're hungry and it's like 10 o'clock and you go to bed at like 10 or 10:30, if you just kind of take a big glass of water, you'll be okay.
Getting through that.
I've known this my whole life, but like to the resistance to like not do it, to not go eat the tasty thing that's in the refrigerator. And I have kids. There's a lot of tasty things in our house. It's really fucking hard. And it's like, I feel like I'm like embarrassed to even say it.
Yeah, no, I'm super proud of you for not eating those bowls of cereal too. It's really hard to discover what's on the other side of that feeling of hunger or whatever. And it's hard to talk about because like anorexia or those kinds of limiting eating disorders, like people discover that other side and they get like high from it. Some people, I'm not talking for everybody, but like you can kind of get high from like fasting because you're like, oh my God, like I don't need to do anything. Like I can do what I want. I'm completely like, it's all by my choice, and that's true, but then it can get dangerous. But those little steps of practicing, finding out what's on the other side, that you aren't the same as your feelings. It's very similar to mindfulness kind of, where it's like, oh, I'm having these thoughts and feelings, but like, that's not me. And I can wait it out and see what happens. Not getting swept away by those feelings. But yeah, I definitely have that kind of problem. Like so my boyfriend likes cereal a lot, but at our house, I bought a lockbox that he could put cereal in because I didn't want to have the option. It's like way more relaxing for me when there's not the option of having junk food, because like when there's the option of having junk food, I'm always thinking about it, and that in itself is stressful. So I didn't always have this problem. I didn't have this problem in college. I could like have my own food in my room and like not eat it. But like now if I have food that's like highly palatable, like I just can't have it around because I'll eat it and like feel bad.
Right.
Yeah. And you have kids, so that like becomes impossible. Like you can't just do that because you have kids.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
And getting them to have somewhat of good habits. Like we've bought stuff just because like kids are picky and annoying. You just don't want to fight that battle. But we've made some sort of breakthrough here in the last couple of weeks where my wife buys like oranges and bananas and they're gone in 2 days. I explained it yesterday. I said to her, if you've seen Tiger King and they talk about the amount of food they have to bring home every day just to keep the zoo going, that's what it's like. You wake up in the morning and you can't believe that bowl of fruit is empty, but it is. You're like, how did they possibly go through it in 1 day?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably been 2 days, but it feels like 1 day. But yeah, man, food's a mother because you need it to survive, you know. And I had Amelia on and we talked about this some, and again, it never was an issue to me until recently. And now it's very important to me. I love being able to, you know, run and feel good and then eat. And then like, I used to like the reward, like gophering for a run or like anytime after the obstacle race, like let's go to the Waffle House, let's go to Steak and Shake. Right. And I think that's okay for some like big races, but not every Saturday. And I don't want to do that every Saturday anymore. Or even just if I went for a trail run, I'd be like, well, I just earned Taco Bell, which is like the worst thing you can eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you really want to eat all the calories that you just ran off? I mean, I know it doesn't exactly
rebuild your body with those particular calories. Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying that like this is massive growth for me in recent, you know, years or months even.
That's amazing. It really is. Like, it's amazing. It's like a hard balance because then sometimes you shift so far to the other end that you never reward yourself or like let yourself kind of relax. And then you start to dread running because there's no reward at the end, you know, or then you get, you know, then it's wintertime and you have seasonal affective disorder and you like can't do anything. Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's like really hard to not get kind of carried away in whatever direction. And we will, no matter what, like we'll always have bad days. We'll always have days when things are hard, when we have less motivation than usual or more negative thoughts about ourselves than usual. And those are the days that everything's really put to the test, but also, I mean, but including like self-punishment, because if you continue to punish yourself when you slip up, then that can at times be effective for preventing unwanted behaviors, but it can also propagate them into the future.
Have you done that? Have you done that? Like punish yourself?
Oh, I've never cut myself or done any of that kind of thing, but I've definitely punished myself with thinking, you know, like with just feeling really bad. And like I've like gone to bed after eating, like after kind of like overeating and feeling kind of sick. I've gone to bed and I've like started to kind of fall asleep. And then I wake up again and I think about what I ate and I like feel horrible and I can't sleep like for a long time or like sometimes all night. So like, that's what I mean by punishment. Like those kinds of thoughts, they feel like they're inescapable or like I have to have them or like they're just inevitable, but like they really aren't. Like I've learned, it's happened a couple times. One time I posted about it where I was like lying in bed, like thinking about something and then I realized I didn't have to think about it. And then I was able to go to sleep. Like that, sometimes that works. And when I'm meditating regularly and like practice it regularly, like I can get better at that, at like being like, wait a minute, this suffering that I'm doing right now in my head, like I don't have to do this. Like I can actually let it go. As impossible as it feels to let it go, it's like the same, it feels as impossible as not eating when you have a little urge to eat, even though you're not hungry. Like it's very much possible, but it like feels kind of impossible because you're in the middle of it. But when you remember that it is possible to just let it go and be okay, then sometimes you can do it and it feels amazing.
What does your meditation practice look like?
So I still do guided meditations with Sam Harris Waking Up app. I think whatever meditation works for people, but guided really helps. It's mostly like either it kind of alternates between focusing on something in particular, such as the breath or your visual field or something like that. And it's kind of alternates between that and then just kind of like letting go and observing what happens. Yeah. And I just do that for 10 minutes every day in the morning when I first get up. Even
if it's like race day and you're up really early?
Oh, so I only started this a few months ago and I don't think I've had races since then. But like I've definitely had a couple lapses. Like for the past week I've been meditating every day, but like before that there was a 2-week period where I didn't meditate and I like freaking noticed. And like when I started meditating again, I was like, oh my God, like what is all this noise in here? What is going on?
Right.
You know, like it really changes. And it's weird, like it's weird to think once you've started meditating and then you stop for a while, it's like weird to realize how you didn't even know what your kind of like baseline was. Like if you're if your mind is a particular way and then you like experience and feel all these things on top of it, like how can you really understand what you're feeling or experiencing if you don't know what is going on when all that's stripped away, So like, yeah, I think it helps to become very familiar with your mind, just kind of in its default mode.
Right. If I've been around people who are like on their phone, like nonstop, and I'm like, that looks so disturbing. And I'm like, but I know I've been that way around people, like not present. And like, I take it really personally. And I'm just like, hey, like fucker, like if we're going to hang out, cool. If not, like, let's not hang out because this is ridiculous. Or people always say like, well, it's just one thing, which I do too. Like I say it jokingly to my wife now because I'm literally like, I just have to post this real quick as a phrase I've said probably 10,000 times because it's work related, right? Like if some fucking Spartan news breaks and I'm finishing this article, but then I have to post it and then I have to put it in a few places and then I probably have to read the first few comments and like, okay, now people are commenting on it, it's doing its thing. Now I can go get on with my day. But I get very, very stuck in that.
Yeah. And sometimes you can get stuck. Sometimes it's possible to get stuck. Like people get stuck in that when it's not even their job. Like they're just looking at something and they're like stuck.
Right.
Or like, have you ever like been on your phone late at night and you're like, what am I doing? But it's like, oh, just one more, maybe I'll feel better. Maybe just one more, maybe I'll feel better. And it's like, you never feel satisfied.
Yeah.
So
that
stop at some point.
Right. That's why I, on a good day, have the phone off by 8 and
that's brilliant.
Not so good days, it's a little bit longer. But I've also learned that I have to put it in the other room, much like the lockbox, because if it is next to me while I'm watching something on Netflix and then the documentary ends and I go, oh, well, what happened to that guy? And then I have to look up what happened to that guy. And now I'm in the phone again. So I just have to be like, okay, it's going to be fine. You can just look tomorrow. And or like, oh, let me make a note because I need to think about this for tomorrow. Or I want to tell Josh. And it's like, I have to keep it in the other fucking room or, you know what I mean?
It's like a portal into a whole universe, but it's like a terrible universe because you can't be your full self. Like you're not actually fully stimulated. It's like this terrible universe that's this big and like 2-dimensional. And we go there for so many hours a day. We're in that. We're like, it's horrible. Like we're in this horrible universe.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. And I open up my phone to do something, but there's all these little buttons and I don't remember what I'm doing. And before I know it, I'm like doing something completely different. Somebody needs to design an interface for a phone where you like open it and you just like put in what you want so that you're not immediately faced with all these distractions. But I guess the whole point of it is to keep you on it and make you like it. And so I don't know.
Yes. That is the goal, to make you like it and keep going. I don't have notifications on, which is rare. Like for most people do not have that. Most people it's filled with. Mine right now has settings. There's something on there. I don't know. I got to fix that later. But like the rest of them are all tucked away into their little thing. And I don't have any.
That's nice.
I would go mental if that was the case. But like, let's say I'm doing this, like I noticed like my little email thing popped up. I'm like, oh, I have to like exit out because I will start to check it because I can think, I wonder if that guy responded.
Right. It'll start these whole little paths that you'll go down in your brain. I mean, this reminds me of like the food industry and what they're allowed to do to us, or just like living in a capitalistic place where when you see a picture of a hamburger, like your body, your like glands will like squirt stuff that'll get
my glands just did when you said the word hamburger. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, it squirts stuff. But like we're allowed, like companies use this to their advantage, and they're like affecting our bodies all the time when we walk around or when we're scrolling through our Instagram and see like a cookie dough recipe or whatever. Like that's affecting your body. And then I just wonder, like, we're on our screen so much, like what are we doing to our bodies but not actually like acting out in our bodies? And so how is that affecting our brains and our brain body connection? It's getting all out of whack.
Yeah, you want to find out about that. You want to study the mind, right? You want to find out all about that.
Yeah, I do.
You should chat with good old Dr. L. Have you chatted with her lately?
Who?
Dr. L works for Spartan. Used to work for Spartan.
I haven't. This is Laura
Pence.
Yeah, Laura Pence. I love her account. I've never met her or spoken.
Oh, okay. You should chat with her.
Yeah, I should.
She's a mind doc, bro.
Yeah.
She's good people.
Cool. I'll check her out. I would love to be in touch. Laura, if you're listening, let's talk.
Oh, she'll listen. I'll tell her to listen. I mean, I think she listens most of the time anyhow, but what do you got there?
This is a flexible water bottle. If you, if I have a water bottle with a little suckly teat, I'll drink like 5 times as much water because it's just so nice. You just,
It's just so fun.
yeah, it's just nice because like with a regular water bottle, you're like unscrewing the cap, or even if you're not unscrewing the cap and it's in a glass, it still like splashes you and you like, it's like hard to swallow.
Right.
But like this, you suck just what you need and you swallow it and it goes down real easy. It's really nice and it feels cool. It's like this.
You should do ads for short collapsible bottles. I mean,
Yeah, I should.
you just gave the best ad read ever for a short collapsible bottle. Who's your pack of choice these days?
My what of choice?
Your running pack of choice.
I don't have a good running backpack. I have one that I got off of Amazon that was made in China. It's called Local Lions and it has a bunch of typos on it. And it's kind of falling apart, but I just have this little backpack that I run with and I put a water bottle in it. So I don't actually have like a running backpack for water.
So even when you do a long race, like when you did like the Beast in Tahoe, you didn't wear a pack?
No. I just drink water at the water stations.
And that works for you?
Yeah.
Did you feel thirsty?
No. I never feel thirsty or hungry in races I have to make myself. But so I like carried gels and I ate those. But usually there's plenty of water stations in the Spartan races. It is hard because I always like choke on the water because you're like, ah! But yeah.
How did you do at that Tahoe last year? I can't even remember. It's been so long.
Oh, I got pretty hypothermic.
Yes. Now I remember because
Yeah.
I found in my recent finding of a desk, your mouth had expanded. Like your lips get blue, but like your entire mouth had expanded. Do you not remember this?
I couldn't talk, I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like you had gotten beaten up.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I don't.
it's not a very flattering look for you. So I'm glad I didn't use that because you're like, yeah, my mouth doesn't really work right now.
I heard talk. I remember I couldn't really talk. But yeah, because I didn't bring a dry bag, and so my clothes were wet. And after I did burpees at the Spear, and after that I started to get really cold. And then after the swim, I started to get euphoric, and then I blacked out. So
You blacked out during the race.
yeah, like I don't remember the rest of the race. Like I stopped making new memories. But yeah, and after that, I've been like sort of sensitized to cold since then. Like OCR World Championships, I dropped out of the 15K because I got cold, and I'm pretty sure that my nervous system was a little bit shaken from Tahoe. So I think like it like I'll get back to the way I was, but for a little while I was particularly sensitive to cold.
Did you hear that Joe might put something special together for Vermont?
No.
Joe said he's going to put like a pro team invite championship, $100,000, blah, 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 in Vermont.
When?
Exactly. Like who the fuck knows, but.
I better start training again.
Well, you and everybody else. He said, well, we'd be spending that much anyway if I was putting on races. So if I know Spartan, I'm sure it'll be super smooth.
Yeah. That sounds fun, I guess. I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with racing and competition, as everybody does, of course. But
I think some people just love it. I don't think they hate it. I think some people who really, really just love to compete.
yeah, I don't love it. I love it after it's done, but like it is a major source of anxiety. Like racing, being in competition season makes me feel really, really bad a lot of the time.
Well, then you should feel great because we haven't had to race.
I know. The week after I found out, I went on the day after I found out, I set off on a week-long backpacking trip with my family, and I have like never been as happy and relaxed as I was on that trip because I didn't have to worry about getting in any workouts. Like exercise was for my own well-being. It's like if I felt like going on a run, I could go on a run, but I didn't have to. There's nothing I had to get done, and there were no races to be worried about. It was so nice. I guess that's like normal life.
Yeah, I guess that's what, you talked about how you feel on, like, I almost always want to run. Like
Really?
rare is the time that I don't actually want to. Usually it's like I look forward to it. Like today at the end of the day, when I pack up here, I go home and then that's what I go do. It's like, yay, I'm going to go on my run now.
Wow.
Once in a great while, it's like, oh shit, I've got to do X miles today and I don't feel like it. Let me get going. And then of course, once you get going, you feel great. But it's away from work. It's away from my kids. I get to enjoy a podcast and or music. I quite enjoy, I almost always enjoy a run.
When I never enjoy a run unless I really get out of like race season. the first time I enjoyed a run was after quitting track for a while and like running without a watch. And then I was like, oh, this can be nice. And then when I first started Spartans again, it was low key because like I didn't have anything to compare myself against, and I was trail running for the first time, so it was nice. But then as soon as I got a GPS watch again, it started to be not fun again. So yeah, like I almost always dread all kinds of workouts. Although trail runs I can look forward to now, sorta. But it's hard. It's hard. And
Well, go ahead.
no, good.
Well, I was gonna say if if you're hanging out with Nicole, that's gotta be fun, right? Like, hey Nicole, let's go running.
Oh yeah, I mean like going on group trail runs is like super fun. But like I like those sort of long all day ones where some of it is kind of scrambling and stuff. That's fun. But yeah, I'm like an animal that has negative associations with running or whatever. Well, I used to associate running with pain. It's only recently where I've like been able to run without pain, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's like way more fun. I'm not like constantly worried about injuries or it doesn't just hurt every step. So that's nice.
How long are you staying there in Colorado?
The rest of this month, I'm thinking of going on a longer backpacking trip because I love backpacking. So we'll see if I can get my residency applications done. I'll think about doing a long through hike. But yeah, for
on the PCT, bro.
That kind of thing, exactly. If it were earlier in the summer, I would do the whole thing, but it's going to start like snowstorming and stuff, so I can't do the whole thing probably.
Tell me what you like about backpacking.
You're just occupied all day long. You're like constantly moving. Because I like to be mildly occupied at all times. And of course, mindfulness is a way to like free yourself from this need, but I feel the most calm when I'm kind of like low level exerting myself. And so you'd think I would love running, huh? But anyway, hiking, it's like an all day thing. So you're always doing something. You're in a beautiful place, but you're like also exerting yourself. And I like that a lot. And I like having to like set up my camp and like, set up the little gas stove and like pump water. You're like constantly occupied. Like life has meaning because you're doing all this stuff to survive.
You're going to become an old hippie lady.
You think so?
Yeah, you're going to have really long gray hair.
Probably.
That's what you just described. All that stuff, I hate all that shit. I would love to go backpacking with you so you could do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm very much a city person. Like
Really?
I enjoy all that stuff, but I'm just not.
Have you done it for like a longer trip?
No, I mean I've done day trips.
It's not the same. You have to like the first couple days you're like getting used to the flow, but then like when you're like, a couple days in and you're in a freaking gorgeous, super isolated spot, then you're like, oh, once you get in the groove,
when my kids are older and I can leave the house for a few days and like my wife wouldn't kill me, that actually might be a good thing. Like, hey, this is totally out of my comfort zone. Why don't I do this for like a week?
Yeah, totally.
So but let me ask you this. Cause I know people do this. I know people they through hike the AT or the PC or whatever, but like, if you want to go like on a run as part of it, right? Do you just like stash your stuff? Like you stash your pack somewhere and like, all right, well, I want to run 10 miles today. You know what I mean? Cause if you're wearing the big thing with the thing sticking out of it, you can't really run.
You could do that. But what's fun to me, the fun idea for me, like, so when I backpack with family, like the backpacking itself isn't necessarily a full workout for me. So sometimes I'll like want to go on a run or something in addition to that. But if I were going by myself or with other athletes, like you don't have to worry about that. I think that's one of the freeing things for me. It's like, I don't have to like think about a workout because I'm already getting it. Like my workout is serving a purpose. Like I used to really like using my commute to work as a workout because everything is wrapped up and efficient. And like, you don't have to add something on. There's no like activation barrier hump to get over to get yourself to do something because you're moving. Like you have to move all your shit. So like you will get a good workout backpacking because you're like carrying a pack. And if it's not a good workout, you go faster, like you get your workout in. And like, if you're hiking 15 miles in a day, which would be like sort of a fun, moderate distance for like an athlete, then like you don't need to go on a run. And also you probably wouldn't want to if you're doing it long enough because you're just like, yeah, you're happy and satisfied at the end of the day. Tired.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna get rolling, dude. I think it was a nice catch up.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And if Joe puts a thing on in Vermont and you go, I think I'm gonna go. I mean, there's nothing else to do this year. Like I could go to Greece, I guess, but do I really want to go to Greece when none of the athletes that I kind of know will be going? Like none of the North American athletes are going.
How could you go though? Would you sail there, like on a boat?
You can't fly to Greece right now.
Can we? I don't know. I thought American citizens couldn't.
Let's Google it.
Oh, are they not part of the EU? I thought the EU closed off to us, but I'm not sure.
Can I travel to Greece? Travelers should be prepared. This is August 7th. Travel Advisory 3, which means what's Travel Advisory 3 mean? Greece has resumed most transportation options, blah, blah, blah. You got to visit the CDC's webpage. It doesn't say you can't go.
Wow. Cool. So maybe we could go. Yeah. Dude, this is going to be a great time for like European OCR people if none of the Americans come.
Yeah, although they did pretty well last time.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I've never been to that one. But yeah,
why didn't you go to Greece? You could have been a force to be reckoned with.
No, I think because $1 Million Mile was filming. And then this past year I was done. I was like, I'm done with the season. Because like that hypothermia thing, I was just like, I'm freaking done.
So $1 Million Mile, that feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah, it does. That was so fun.
What did they call you? What was your nickname?
The Harvard Hammer.
The Harvard Hammer. How could I forget? Did you enjoy your time on that program?
Oh my God. It was like one of the funnest couple weeks of my life. Yeah, it was really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you like the best about it?
It's really fun to be on camera. It's really fun to chase someone down. And it's really fun to it's fun to do all of those things. It's like all of my favorite things mixed together. If it were like in the mountains, it would have been even better. But
it was on the mean streets of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was in a big lot in Los Angeles.
It was like in a big lot, but it looked like it was on the streets of Los Angeles.
Did you meet LeBron James?
Yeah.
Did you chat with Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
Did you chat with him off camera?
Yeah.
Is he a nice person?
Yeah, he's real nice. His shirt's real long.
His shirt's real long. That's what you have to say about him?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to say about Tim Tebow? His shirts are real long?
That was like one of the most striking things about him was how long his shirt was. Apparently he likes them long, but they're very long. Like if you look, at least on that show, I mean, he wore the same outfit every day, but on that show, his shirts were really long. I don't know if he always likes long shirts or what, but now I follow him on Instagram and I love watching his funny videos. Oh, he's such a nice, earnest person.
How did you come to be on that show? Who asked you?
Spartan World Championships 2018. Ian Adamson talked to me in the ESPN room, post race, and was like, "Hey, would you want to do a TV show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would like that."
Why didn't they bring you on the Eco Challenge, bro?
So they wanted me to go, but I didn't. But it conflicted with Spartan World. It was right before Spartan World Championships, Tahoe, and so I was like, I shouldn't do that. I regret that now, obviously, but yeah, I would have done it if it weren't for Spartan World Championships timing.
Well, it premieres this Friday.
It's gonna be so good.
So
yeah, I would have loved that.
All right, well, nice catching up with you, dude.
Nice catching up with you.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, see you later.